Welcome back to the Taiwan Outlook. I'm your host, Raymond Wu. We're continuing our discussion with Mr. Li Shangren, currently the Deputy Secretary General of the ROC-USA Cultural and Economic Association, and formerly a member of the Legislative Yuan in Taiwan. And Shangren, we're going to talk about the U.S. election that just happened on November 4th. And without, discussion about the eventual candidate, eventual winners, I want to ask you first, what do you think the significance of this election is? Of course, the United States is still the leading dominant country in the world, and what happens with U.S. politics certainly has a lot of impact on the rest of the world. What do you think the significance of this election is, given the global financial crisis, given the trouble in the Middle East, given the trouble in North Korea, and also the reconstruction effort in Iraq, all these, 8 years under George W. Bush? What do you think the significance of the election was, not only to the U.S., but also to the rest of the world?
Yeah, that's true. During the financial turmoil period, the United States presidential election is possibly the most important political event in the world. And the newly elected president is not only the leader of the United States, he also has to take the responsibility to tackle the global financial crisis as well. And also this election, I think, is kind of rewritten. It's already rewritten the American election history.
Yes, in what sense?
With respect to race and gender.
And you don't think that U.S. politics and in terms of what you mentioned, race and gender, did you think that had any impact to the campaign itself in the process, and also to the eventual outcome?
Yeah, I think the just like Obama said that we are one nation, we are one people. That reminds me, echoed the words from Dr. Martin Luther King, I have a dream. And lots of the Americans were rethinking the outcome of the presidential election. And is America like to be like the leader of the world, or America has to just take care of themselves, and especially in this kind of special period of financial crisis. Some Americans think that we are responsible for the financial crisis, but some of them maybe would think that, okay, we just protect ourselves and don't care about the rest of the world.
Don't be an international policeman.
Yeah, that's right. So maybe so the attitude of the Americans will be very, very decisive with respect to the financial crisis.
And also, as you know, that you discussed about the U.S. role in the future, whether U.S. will continue to be a policeman around the world. I think also one very important related concept to that is that whether the United States will lead in the future by example, by moral standards, or by brute force. Whether the United States will be able to use its soft power to try to attract other countries to conform, or is it going to be use hard power, military might to get the agenda across? And we, of course, in Asia, are very concerned about U.S. commitment to Asian allies, to Japan, to Australia, to Southeast Asia, and also to Taiwan, of course. What do you think the U.S. role would be different, or about the same, or is it going to be expanding in Asia with the new president-elect?
As for the United States role
in
Asia, especially on the Taiwan Straits, we have to look back up the past to see that kind of as a future reference. The United States and Taiwan share a very special, complicated situation due to the past history, especially after the Cold War. We sometimes share a complex
yes.
From the past history. And now I think the United States and Taiwan also, we connect each other with strategic and economic interests together. So in the future, I see that the United States is going to be like a balancer and also like a stabilizer related to the topics, to the issues across the strait. And you will continue to do this.
What do you think about, under the new president-elect, what will happen with U.S.-China relations, especially now with the global financial crisis making China more of a visible player in international economy? Even the Secretary of Treasury, Hank Paulson, says so. That China is likely to emerge from the financial crisis stronger than it was before on the international stage. How would you think that relationship between U.S. and China will be different? As we know, the relationship is huge. Is multifaceted, multidimensional, and also very, very complex. Some parts are very good, some parts are not so good. How would you think that relationship will evolve under the new president?
Yeah, we can see the future. The United States and China will work together closely to deal with lots of problems, and not just like the past. The United States and China, some people think that they are competitors, but in the future they are more like friends to cooperate together.
Yes.
Because of the same problem, like terrorism, like a financial crisis, they're going to cooperate more closely. Recently, we can see that the strategic economic dialogue between these two countries, initiated by Secretary of Finance Paulson,
yes,
we can see the very good results as the ministerial level meeting.
Yes.
And in the future, we can expect maybe they are going to have more like such kind of meeting between these two countries. And we are very glad to see that the United States and China have a better relations, because it will also coincide the interests between Taiwan and China and even the United States together.
And also the fact is that we used to think of U.S.-China-Taiwan relations as a zero-sum game. If our relationship with U.S. is better, that means that your relationship with China, U.S. and China, will definitely have to be worse, have to be bad. But that's not the case anymore. I think a healthy, stable, and growing relationship between the U.S. and China will be beneficial to cross-strait relations. And also, we mentioned earlier about the ease of tension in cross-strait relations, and also the closer dialogue that we have between ARADS and CEF. And also, the fact of the matter remains is, I think the new president-elect in the U.S. will pretty much adhere to the same fundamental U.S. policy towards China, towards cross-strait relations, as for the past 20 years. That is the one China policy, and no conflict, and then the peaceful resolution of dispute, no unilateral change of the status quo, and also encourage dialogue to resolve the differences between China and Taiwan. Do you think that the same policy stance will continue with the new U.S. president-elect? Would there be some changes, like, for example, back in 2001 when George W. Bush was first elected, then he said that the United States would do whatever it takes to help Taiwan defend itself. Was something like that will happen again? I don't think it was a accident when President Bush said that. I certainly cannot see that with the president-elect yet. But do you anticipate something of a fundamental change in that nature?
Yeah, if we look at three parties a policy, it's really a very difficult job to coordinate everybody together.
Yes.
If you look at the United States, the one China policy, if you look at China's one China principle, if you look at the Taiwan's no independence, no unification, and that we can still see some of the overlapping. That is no conflicts, no confrontation, no war.
Peace.
Peace is the very important concept in the three parties. Major
trilateral relations.
That's right. So if we just go on this direction, how to keep peace among others, maybe we can find a very creative way to deal with the trilateral relations.
Yeah. And before we conclude, maybe Shangren, you can share with the viewers. I mean, one thing that we most definitely need, not just between cross-strait relations, but also in the U.S.-China, Taiwan trilateral relations, is confidence. How would you recommend that the three sides can do things differently or promulgate policies that will help the level of confidence in conducting this very complex relationship?
Maybe dialogue is the most important. We have dialogue with the United States, and we can see there's dialogue between the United States and China.
Yes.
And now we can have dialogue with China. That would be the best policy. If lots of dialogues can continue.
Yes.
No misunderstanding, no confrontation.
Avoid accidents.
That's right.
Yes. Yeah. We're very, much thankful that Mr. Li Shangren is able to come on the Taiwan Outlook today and discuss with us very complex and very emotional issues related to cross-strait relations and U.S.-China Taiwan relations. Thank you very much, Shangren.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching the Taiwan Outlook. I'm your host, Raymond Wu. I'll see you next time on MacroView Television. Thank you.